I'm Teisha Bader. Thank you for joining me. We are about to mark 1 year since the horrific massacre carried out by terror group Hamas on October the 7th of 2023 against Israel, where 1,200 people, men, women, and children were brutally murdered, and some 251 people, men, women, and children, were kidnapped into Gaza and held hostage. What happened that day is still unfathomable, and we are still in disbelief, in mourning, and praying for the safe return of those still held captive in Gaza. Among those killed on that dark day, American Israeli citizens, 70-year-old Judy Weinstein-Haggai and her husband, 72-year-old Gotti, their bodies kidnapped into Gaza from kibbutz near Oz, where they lived. Well, we are truly honored and humbled to have Andrea Weinstein, sister of Judy, sister-in-law of God, here with us today to talk about her loved ones and what happened on that horrible day. Andrea, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me and allowing me to use my voice.
Of course. And before we talk about what happened, I would love you to just share a little bit about what your sister was like, what your brother-in-law was like, how they were as a couple. I would say they were truly soulmates. And I don't use that term lightly or ever, but they really were. My sister Judy, who is the eldest of the three of us, I have a brother as well, was an amazing woman. She was quiet in a certain way, but had such a powerful presence and voice, and I can share a story about that. But she was a teacher. She made amazing puppets that she used with children to help them use their voice, both kids with who were learning English, children who were had special needs, and helping them to use their voice in a rather volatile area. She taught mindfulness. She wrote haiku each morning, which really very succinctly expressed what was happening at that moment for her. Gotti was a chef for many years on the kibbutz they lived. He was a jazz musician. They were both, they just led such beautiful, full lives for the number of years that they were here on earth, and had so much more life to give to each other, to their family, to all of us. They were really wonderful, smart, funny, serious, like the perfect combination of everything, really. And they were known. And my sister was very involved in various poetry circles, and we've heard from people far and wide to say to talk about the impact that Judy had and really continues to have. They were great. She was a wonderful big sister. Yeah. I was looking at their pictures yesterday, and that comes through. When there's a picture of the two of them together, she's sitting on his lap, and it's so sweet.
Yes.
It's so sweet.
Yeah, they really loved each other.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah.
So what happened on that day? What do we know about what happened to them on that nightmare of a day?
Yeah. We know they were out for their early morning walk, as they did every day. They took such good care of themselves and of each other. They were out for their early morning walk, and as they were walking, they heard and saw rockets overhead. And my sister actually videoed the rockets, which I think have been aired, to let family know, to let other people in the kibbutz know what was going on. They took cover on the ground. They were then ambushed by terrorists on motorcycles. Gotti was shot, injured very badly. My sister was also shot, but at that point was alive and was able to call for help. And somewhere in the strength that she had, maybe it's all of her mindfulness work that she's done over the years, helped her to make that call, begging for help. No one got to them on time. The ambulance was burned, and the tires shot, and it was too late. So we know on that day it took about 2.5 months
longer to find out, but we found out that they were both murdered that day. Their bodies were brought to Gaza, and we know that their bodies are still being held in Gaza, so they are still considered hostage. At least their bodies are hostage. My sister reached out to her family through their WhatsApp group. They have 4 amazing kids and 7 grandkids, and that was the last anyone heard from them.
And as you said, for that 2.5 month period, it was the end of December, I believe, that you received confirmation that they had been murdered on that day.
Yes.
So for that whole time, everyone assumed that they were alive, being held in Gaza.
Yeah, we hoped. We knew Gotti's situation was more serious than Judy's at that point, we thought, and we envisioned her, teaching mindfulness to other hostages to help them keep their calm. And so we visualized her, working her beautiful energy with other people, to learn that day never came to pass. Yeah.
Andrea, how did you find out what happened and where were you?
Well, I received a call from Israel to confirm the terrible news. I was actually en route to a yoga class, and learned the news and contacted my brother, who was actually on a film shoot. He's a documentary maker, and we learned in that moment, and then we had to share that news with our mom, who is about to turn 96. Yeah. So it was very, very memorable, very terrible.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
And I'm okay. So the news of them having been murdered or on October the 7th, and I'm sorry to make the question clear, but on October the 7th, you're talking about, or when you received the news of their deaths?
When we received the news of their fatality. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And on October the 7th, how did you find out about that? Or what was the first word you had of what was going on in Israel?
It was, it was through the news. Through the news, we learned what had happened. I was actually in New York City volunteering for a Terry Fox run in Central Park and heard this news, heard Judy and Gotti had been injured, didn't know to what extent. And there were a mixture of stories that it was unclear exactly how badly injured they were. So that took time to unfold. But we knew that they were definitively injured. And, our understanding is they were the first civilians to be attacked. And the atrocities just went on and on, especially their kibbutz near Oz, where there's still over 20 people are being held hostage. And it's just horrific.
Yeah. And we do want to make note that we are taping this on September the 5th. Again, just about a month away from the 1-year anniversary
Yes.
of what happened. You mentioned they have 4 children, 7 grandchildren. I cannot imagine what this has been for any of your family how this has been for any of your family members. But I just was wondering how they are coping today.
Well, that'll be in a month and 2 days from the time we're taping today. But, it's been very difficult. I think everyone is trying to manage in their own way. Some of us are more actively interviewing. Some are trying to, we're trying to return to some sort of healthy routine. For example, every day when I do my stretches, I hear my sister saying, do your stretches, do your yoga first, take care of yourself. And so that's very much integrated into my rituals. And, her children are very thoughtful, amazing humans. And I know everyone is just trying to manage in their own way with their extended friends and family. So we're, moment by moment. But of course, it's hugely challenging. And it was just recently my sister's birthday, which posed a whole other level of challenge to all of us, I'd say.
So sorry. You mentioned your mom about to turn 96, which is amazing. But so sad that she has had to experience this profound loss. How is she doing?
My mom is amazing. This is my sister's her firstborn. She has said that, after Judy was born, she felt like that was the most important thing she'd ever done in her life up until then. And I know my sister also expressed the same when she gave birth to her first daughter. So she is, my mom is amazing. She's managing, she's, I don't know. I don't know how she does it. She's resilient. She's had to deal with loss at age 96. You certainly deal with loss, but no, it's beyond imagination that this is the loss she'd have to be coping with now. Yeah, but she's living her life independently, has a little bit of help, and I'll be seeing her soon.
That's remarkable. And, with all these anti-Israel protests and the horrible rhetoric we're hearing all the time here in the U.S., certainly on college campuses, etc., just wonder how you, for example, someone who has experienced this loss on the most personal level, who knows what happened, who knows the facts of what happened and is happening now in Israel, how do you sort of deal with that? Or do you just keep it separate from yourself? Or how has that been for you on a personal level? I'm just wondering. And then also, how has the response been from your community?
Well, I try to kind of separate out a little bit. I don't run to go to protests. People, the beauty of being here is that we have the right to free speech, as long as it's not violent. It would be nice if people understood what they were chanting. That's really important before joining in to understand. And that's part of the growing pains of being a college student and, just sort of understanding these things. The anti-Semitism is really very concerning. People need to remember what happened October 7th. I mean, people were torn from their homes. People were murdered in front of loved ones, from young to old. This is no joke. This is seriously what happened on October 7th. I think people need to remember, 1,200 people were murdered, and many, if not all of those people, were people who were peaceniks, who believed in peace. I mean, my sister Judy and her husband Gotti, they were all about peace. That's how they lived their lives. They didn't preach it. They lived it. It's evident in my sister's poetry. It's evident in how she treated her students, and the fact that they consciously made a decision to live on this kibbutz 2 kilometers from Gaza. They believed in peace. They believed in being able to live harmoniously with their neighbors. These young adults who are at a peace festival, music festival, these are our hope. Just this past weekend, Hirsch Goldberg Poland, who was one of the American hostages, who was so close to being home, to being able to be reunited with his family, was murdered along with 5 other young, beautiful souls. I mean, I'm speechless. This is what happened. We feel that, I'm not a politician, but a very vulnerable border was left open, the border at Gaza, and it took many, many hours for any support to get to that area of Israel, which was really too late. And so I think this is something that Prime Minister Netanyahu that's the reality of what happened. And there continues to be so much pain, so much death. We don't want to see any more. So we want our loved ones returned. I'm in the US, and we've had, there were 8 hostages, 3 of whom we know are still considered hostages, meaning their bodies are being held, and that's Judy and Gotti and a young man named Itai. So we learned all 3 had been murdered October 7th, though it took some months before we found out. And then there are 4 other American hostages who presumably are alive. We hope they are alive, and that they can be reunited and held in the arms of their families, along with the other hostages. So there are 101 people who are still being held hostage. So there's this situation where the reality of what happened October 7th, and then this ongoing fighting and military activity. And but certainly from the hostage families' perspectives, we do not want to see anyone endure this kind of horror anymore. We want to see peace. We want a ceasefire. We want our loved ones brought home. So the protests, there are protests, but it's important to understand the full situation. And it's important, we have had received an awful lot of support and access to the Biden-Harris administration. They have been amazing and been in a lot of contact with the families. We've met with, very high-level people to, express our concerns and to find out what's happening. Of course, they can't divulge, certain information, of course, but we feel that they have been as transparent as possible, and we really feel their support. And I think for the families who are Israeli, or a number of the families, they wish they'd have had that kind of support and access from the Netanyahu government.
Andrea, I know you wanted to share some of Judy's poetry with us, which would really be meaningful. Yeah. And anything else you want to leave us with about your sister, about your brother-in-law?
Yeah, as we say, may their memories be a blessing.
Amen.
And let me read a few, which is a nice note to end on. So my sister Judy, she wasn't religious. She fell in love with Israel, with the man of her dreams, who she fell in love. And there's one thing she was extremely religious about, and that was writing a haiku daily and posting it daily. So this is one of her haikus. She wrote nearly a year and a half ago now, which is very pertinent to now. Friends and those not met, together on planet Earth, may we breathe in peace. I will read another. Now, more than ever, kindness and tolerance with an open heart. I'll read it again. Now, more than ever, kindness and tolerance with an open heart. May we all be granted the basic rights of home, food, shelter, and peaceful days. Here's hoping. May this war end. I think we're on day 335. I'm losing count, but each day is very dangerous for the hostages and for innocent civilians who are receiving the brunt of this war. So we hope for an end to this war.
Andrea Weinstein, I deeply appreciate you being here. I hope you know how sorry we all are for your terrible loss. And we hope for better days ahead. As you said, we hope and pray the hostages will be home soon. We hope you will have remains to be able to lay to rest in Israel. And we send you our deepest, deepest condolences.
Thank you so much. We do need to lay our loved ones to rest with family. Thank you so much, Teisha.
Thank you, Andrea. Andrea Weinstein is the sister of Judy Weinstein-Haggai and Gad Haggai, killed on October the 7th. And we thank her so much for her time here Am Yisrael Chai.